Hey guys, for this week's coronavirus extra credit assignment, we're going to take a look at how vaccines are made. Again, this is totally optional, but let's see if this is something that you can do. Okay, so this is the coronavirus, or a model of it. Now, the way vaccines work is they want to create a deactivated version of this virus so it can go into our body. Our immune systems recognize these proteins on the virus and can develop antibodies for it and be able to basically attack the viruses. Now, we want the viruses to be deactivated so they don't multiply and we don't get sicker and sicker. And the way viruses are deactivated, one way is to destroy their DNA inside. Now, the DNA is inside the virus, just like a cell. Although viruses aren't living things, they use their DNA in conjunction with our body's cellular machinery to copy and reproduce their DNA and to produce more viruses. Now, you may have learned that DNA looks like this. It has a double helix structure. And you may have learned about how there are these 4 bases that make up our genetic code and make up the code of DNA. Well, now that we've been taking chemistry, we can understand these better. DNA looks, each one of these bases are right here. And we know now that these are covalent bonds. We also see here that there is ionic charges. This is an O-. And we see that covalent bonds link all of these bases together and to form the DNA strand. Here's another view of it. We have the bases of DNA. They're linked by covalent bonds. We see the ionic charges. And here, these dashed lines, what do you think these are? These are H bonds, which we've been learning about as intermolecular forces. These H bonds will hold together the 2 strands of DNA in their double helix form. Now, how do they create vaccines? They use UV radiation. Now, we've learned about radiation this year, about how it's a certain kind of light of a particular wavelength. Now, UV tends to be higher in energy, and it's not good for us. That's why we have to wear sunscreen when we go outside. So here's the thing. They use UV radiation to destroy the DNA inside viruses to inactivate them to create vaccines. But I don't really know in what way the UV radiation interacts with the DNA to destroy it. Your task this week for this assignment, extra credit assignment, is to do a little bit of research and find out how UV radiation destroys DNA to create vaccines. Now, I really don't know how this happens. So, but let me just point you into a couple of directions based on, what I do know. UV radiation can be absorbed by these compounds and specifically by their double bonds. And this will tend to excite those electrons. Remember, we've learned about how electrons can be excited from the ground state to the excited state by the absorption of light. And this happens specifically for double bonds. Double bonds can absorb UV radiation to go into the excited state. But how does UV radiation destroy the DNA? Does it break these bonds? Does it break the hydrogen bonds? Does it get absorbed by these double bonds and they twist apart? Does it just completely rip it apart? I really have no idea. So your goal is to do a little bit of research to take a look at how UV radiation destroys DNA. Okay? Good luck.